The audio commentary. It's a dying art form, but here at One Track Mind, I, your wonky yet affable host Ryan Luis Rodriguez, analyze film through the prism of these embryonic forms of podcasting, one audio commentary at a time. Masterpieces, crapster pieces, live action, animation, cult classics, films literally no one has ever heard of. No track is too small, and no track is too big. Join me and my guests from the entertainment world as we keep these features alive every other Tuesday. Hey, who else is going to discuss Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey one week and Citizen Kane the next? Us, that's who. Sure, you have to put up with my voice, but there's a certain give and take in this industry. That's One Track Mind, part of the Someone's Favorite Productions family, and available wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
Kulturecast. I'm Chris Stachiw, and I'm joined by my good friend. We just shared a birthday not too long ago. The one and only Father Malone.
Good evening, Kulturecast listeners.
So, we're continuing Sexploitation Spring. We're looking at more sexploitation films. This one is She-Mob from 1968. The film is directed by Harry West, written by Diana Paschal, stars Marnie Castle, Monique Duvall, Adam Clyde, Twig as Twig. It's a movie about a gigolo who gets kidnapped by lesbians.
Some of them are lesbians.
I honest to God I'm not sure that any of them are lesbians other than Big Shim.
Big Shim is definitely a lesbian,
Big
yes.
Shim is a lesbian. Without question.
Yeah, that's, I don't think there's any doubt.
So, Father Malone, had you ever seen this film before? You own this film, right?
I do own this film. I have seen it before, yes. You know, look, I own a lot of sort of lesser-known and obscure movies you might not have seen. And,
yo, hashtag cross-promotion.
I think I bought it, and it was part of a pack, like a DVD with like 15 cult, quote-unquote, films, and this was in there, because I don't think I necessarily would have sought this one out. I mean, I'm a big fan of, the Russ Meyer type films, Faster Pussycat, Kill Kill, obviously. What
about Vixen? Are you a fan of Vixen?
Vixen's good. Vixen's pretty good. It's pretty good. I mean... Well, that's the thing. Rewatching it now, I couldn't help but feel like, watching this as part of the same genre that Russ Meyer stands encased in, it makes him look like John Cassavetes or like, John Ford or something. Whatever limitations Russ Meyers has as a filmmaker, he doesn't, he at least knows some form of pacing. Pacing is good. So anyway, being a fan of the genre sort of in general, I've seen a lot of them. But I had not seen this prior to like when I got that DVD combo, and I hadn't watched it since. I had actually forgotten it, believe it or not. And, so I was watching it. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen this. And then like once it got going, I was like, oh yeah, I've definitely seen this movie. And here we go again. Not the best of the genre. Let's say that.
So this is now my second sexploitation film that I've seen.
Alrighty.
And this and Vixen. And boy, talk about the difference in quality, because this movie is hard to get through. It's an hour and 20 minutes, feels like 2 hours, and honestly, look, I am a admirer of the male and female form, just like anyone is. But at some point, I do need some plot if you're going to call yourself a film. And
it does go on, doesn't it?
The lack of a cohesive narrative. I mean, even in Vixen, there was barely a narrative, but it was still there. With She-Mob, there is not a narrative. There is a astounding lack of narrative. One might say the film is even devoid of a narrative.
Oh, I don't know. I think there's a narrative in there. I just think it is stretched way too thin. Look, if you were to sort of edit the sexploitational parts of the movie out and kind of condense it, you'd probably get a 10-minute movie, 15 max.
Generous.
I know. But, and the way they stretch out their runtime is absolutely insane. Like, there's no act in any way that they will not show in its entirety. If a character had decided to make everyone breakfast at some point, we would have seen them going to the grocery store and buying the eggs and bringing them back and cracking them open one by one. It's just like, it's so ponderous in places.
You're not even being facetious. They would totally show that.
Yeah, like every moment. And now I'm putting some butter in the pan. Like everything everyone does, they feel like we need to see in the greatest of detail. And I'm sure that's probably just to pad out the running time so it can qualify.
There's a scene where Monique Duvall's character, who's the detective, she is changing clothes. And I don't know how long it was. I did not time it. But it is a 2-3 minute continuous shot of her ass and her getting naked and changing in and out of clothes with the character in the background, whose name, I don't even know what the characters' names are, other than Big Shim, and Tony the Gigolo, and Twig. So that's 3 characters, one of which their name is their stage name as well. They just keep focused on her ass for like 2.5 minutes. And again, like I said, I'm an admirer. I can appreciate the female form and the male form just like anyone else. But what's the point? I mean, if that's, again, we're watching this with 2020 glasses on. 1968, this was salacious, I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
this is trash cinema, grindhouse flick, showing at porno theaters. Okay, I get it. But unfortunately, 2020 glasses on. Okay, how long do we need to see this go for?
Clearly, the whole sort of sexploitation genre popped up, for lack of a better term, in the 60s when it was decided that, sex and obscenity weren't necessarily the same thing. It seems as a genre to, as you said, these played in mainly like grindhouse theaters, where, movies would just be playing nonstop. So that's, there was this definite need for content such as it is. And, this afforded, I think, regular folk who were too frightened to go to a porn theater to kind of get their kicks. And so, this movie is nothing if not a vehicle just to get women naked as much as possible. And boy, don't they. But, it's funny because, all right, I'm of two minds, which is, did you ever see there was a movie in the early 90s, it was called Mistress, starring Robert Wuhl and Robert De Niro and Jace Alexander and Eli Wallach. It was about this independent filmmaker who was getting his chance to make a movie, but everyone who was going to give him money wanted their girlfriends to be in the movie. And at one point he visits this character played by Eli Wallach, who was an old-time sort of Hollywood guy who's sort of washed up now. And he said, you know what, whatever it takes to make your movie, just get it made, because then you're in the club. Like, even if you made a piece of shit, you made a movie. So, as bad as a movie is sometimes, that line always stuck with me. Like, you know what, like, as bad as this thing is, like, they're one up on me, but at the same time, like, Russ Meyer kind of jumped into this genre because, they were easy to get made because people like to see boobies. But at least he was doing it with some craft. This one just seems like we need to make this, we're going to make some money, and we're going to make it as prurient rather as possible, and we're going to sort of dive into things that maybe the other films are shying away from, with the sort of feminization of a guy at one point, and lesbianism, and like all the sort of even more taboo than probably grindhouses were used to at the time. But it is so kind of bald-facedly poor. Like, I mean, look, I've seen straight-ahead XXX porn films with better plots than the movie, and better acting.
A film that came out 4 years after this, Deep Throat, which is a porno, a woman deep throats a man's penis, that is the literal title of the film, has more plot than this film does. It
certainly does, yeah.
It's a better film than this one is. The cock-sucking aside, it's still, I mean, that's an impressive scene for a number of reasons, especially the time and place and everything. But this film has less plot than that film does. And that's shocking. That's the thing that Jess and I talked about on the last episode with Vixen. And again,
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times. Or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months. Or the Rogue heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan. #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
rather have watched Vixen than this film, but that's essentially what we talked about. It's not a movie, and it's not porn. And look, I'd rather watch either of those genres. Because again, I mean, look, I'm an adult. It's 2020. We all have our phones. You can dial up Pornhub, right? You could be sitting watching Pornhub doing this podcast, and you would never know because you can have access to everything and anything now.
Right.
And why would I watch a film that can't decide what it wants to be, a porno or a movie, when I could watch either of those two kinds of things at any point? It's so bizarre, and I think this goes back to the kind of conversation we had last week, which is a lot of the exploitation genres have actually aged rather well. You were here last month for Blaxploitation Month. Blaxploitation films are still entertaining. Truck Turner is one of the best films I've watched all year, and we've all been locked inside, so we've all undoubtedly been watching so much shit coming out of every orifice. But Blaxploitation's aged pretty fucking well. They're still
I think a lot of exploitation has, yeah.
There's still a film at the core. There's still good performances. There's still entertaining action and dialogue. Sexploitation, I appreciate what it did, but honestly, in 2020, it has aged so poorly, it's shocking.
Yeah, it's funny because I went to look up the credits of everyone in the movie. Not shockingly is the fact that this is, I'd say 95% of the people listed in cast and crew, this is their only film. But what amused me is the fact that the movie has an editor at all, because everything, you could have edited this film in camera effectively, because every take goes on too long. It's just, there's virtually no craft to it at all. Nevertheless, look, I didn't hate this movie. I watched it before, and, I could have just not watched it for this podcast and pretty much summed it up, but I wasn't hating my life. A couple of things were making me hate my life, I guess. That woman singing at the beginning.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about.
The happy day. I kept looking at the clock while that scene was going on, where she keeps calling for Tony and he's not arriving, so she keeps singing. I found myself screaming, "Tony, for Christ's sake, get in there already." And my favorite lack of craft moment is that I think the majority of the movie is supposed to take place at night once they get to the farm. And they're shooting their version of Day for Night, which is not to put a lens on the camera to make everything look dimmer, but rather put half a lens on the camera.
So noticeable.
So everything halfway on the screen to the bottom is brightly lit and easy to see, and everything above it is pitch black, to the point where, during the car sequences, you can kind of cheat it a little bit, but when they're having like action sequences with people shooting at each other and stuff, it's like their lower half of their body is brightly lit and the top half is a complete murky, inky blob. It was so
Good
crazy.
luck if you can even tell what is going on in those scenes to begin with.
I mean, look, man, I don't think I had a problem following the plot, such as it is. These 4 ladies kidnap this guy, want money. My favorite line, by the way, let me just throw it in, like, after they go and they do the drop where the agent has gotten hit over the head and they've taken the shoebox full of money. She walks in and goes, "Well, we're rich." Okay. I don't know.
Well, considering the fact that most of the lines in the film are also seemingly ADR,
which is shocking that they had any money to do it. I know, look, I don't know what the budget of this movie was, but it was small. I'm sure they made their money. I mean, I'm sure it was a success, right? Although, it doesn't seem like anyone went on to do anything else.
Well, I mean, again, what are your credits going to be? A movie called She-Mob where you play maybe a lesbian, but probably not?
Yeah. You could have built up from there. Santana.
No, that's fair.
Santana went on and had a career, But again, she was in a movie that gave a shit beyond just the titillation, Like, Russ Meyer is one of those guys, like, you can tell, like, he's way into the sort of exploitation aspect of it, but he was also kind of interested in entertaining everyone along the way. And, this one kind of falls into like any genre, there are sort of multiple subgenres. And, sexploitation, I think you can get, like, there were, like, nudie cuties in the late 50s where effectively just somebody went to a nudist colony and, like, filmed, like, women playing with volleyballs and stuff. Like almost no plot at all. There's that, in which, nudie cutie is kind of an interesting term. I mean, at least an appropriate term, because it's so gentle in its approach. This one fell into a category that came known as the roughies, 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 like, where this was a little different in that it's basically women committing violence against other women and men, whereas most of the roughies were, violence against women. But it's still kind of in that genre where, we're having naked fist fights and they're like whipping that guy at one point. I don't know. Like, none of this is shocking to me or like sort of off the board, sort of sexually, whatever, makes one happy, but like, just do it skillfully, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, that's one of the things I didn't get, is they do have these kind of scenes of quote-unquote taboo within this taboo film. And, I mean, in a film like Vixen from the last episode, you have women engaging in lesbian sex, which at the time, that's taboo. You could make the case that for some folks it's still taboo. Whatever, fine, be a prude. But in this film, you have ostensibly, like we've mentioned, 4 lesbians. There is no lesbian sex in this film.
Like, not at all. It's all
Though
just sort of hinted at.
It's a film about 4 lesbians.
Right. So it's described. I mean, look, they all seem to be into this guy except for the one girl. So, maybe the box art or the posters are lying to us that, we're supposed to believe it's... Because, look, I read the description, and like I said, I did not necessarily remember having seen the film, even though I know I owned it. I was like, oh, wow, like a lesbian gang, like, on the rampage. Like, yeah, I'm looking forward to this now. But that was not what we got at all.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not like I was clamoring for lesbian sex. Again, if you want to find lesbian pornography, it's literally one website or one Google search away. So it's not like that's what I was in it for, but my issue is you have characters in this film who are lesbians, and I would not have known they were lesbians aside from the fact that the film's description on IMDb tells me that. Yeah,
and it goes hand in hand with the rest of the problem. It's like, it's not titillating enough. It's not plot-driven or action-y or work as any kind of film. And it kind of like hints at these sort of taboo things, but never really delves into them. Like, even the simulated sex is just kind of boring.
Right. And it's just kind of embarrassing. Like, I feel bad for the actors that they're having to pretend to have sex because they're adults just like you and I. They ostensibly, more than likely, should know how to act and pretend to have sex, and they don't even seem to understand how to do that. And I'm not sure whose fault it is. I'm going to lean into it was more than likely the writer and director's fault, considering how the director of this film it's uncredited. He didn't even want his name attached to this film. Can't imagine why.
Look, I'm not going to say I hate this movie, but it's not a
matter of hate. I mean, it's not a good film.
Yeah, that's funny. Like, people talk about, and I've probably said this before on different other podcasts, but like, when people say like, oh my God, this was the worst movie ever made, no matter what that film happens to be, it's like, but you sat through the whole thing. If I haven't turned a movie off, then I don't really necessarily hate it. You know what I mean? Like, it has to achieve a level of, I can't, not one more second. Sorry. I'm not going to waste another moment of my life on this thing. That to me is a hated film. So yeah, I mean, look, this movie, it can't even muster hatred. It's just kind of there. Some of the girls are cute. The bodies look good, I guess. I think the private eyes, silvery Barbarella outfit was kind of hot. Like, look,
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times. Or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months. Or the Rogue heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface-level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind-the-scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, and let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.
Yeah, I enjoy seeing black sheer underpants on a woman.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, and you're going to get that, but like not in any more demonstrative way than you would have just seen it in a skin mag at the time, Like, just because she's moving around a little doesn't make it any better, because she's really not doing anything sexy in it.
No, and that's the issue, is, again, I don't understand how this or what this could be a replacement for.
I mean, look, if it came to your town and this was the only outlet, then I get it. But, by 68, like, there were like mainstream movies, not as naked, or not to use the term naked, but not as nakedly sort of overt, with the titillation, but, certainly anything, I guess Warhol didn't really start until the early 70s. No, he was already making films by now. Look, there were other sort of films in the genre that you could have pointed to. This is just, I don't know. It feels just like a cash grab and not a whole lot more.
No, it completely does. It feels like a film that exists to get people to show up because, oh my God, it's a film about a gang of lesbians. And then you go in and you're just disappointed when you leave. I mean, look, I don't think anyone was expecting full-on girl-on-girl action. But something more than this would have at least been, like you said, mildly titillating. This is not even mildly. This is just, I mean, again, there's breasts, and that's it. And again, at the time, that was probably more than enough, but that's not more than enough when you're billing yourself as a film, not as a pornographic film, as a narrative-driven film.
Yeah, and you got to understand also that, like, at the time, like, a Grindhouse, as I said, they were showing films all day, so it's not like somebody showed up for this particular feature. It was you paid your money, and then you could sit there as long as you wanted to, and see everything that, that they had, and then, they would repeat them. It would, be a couple of days of the same program, I think. So it's not even as if they were rooking anybody, by promising them something and giving them something else. It's just that, I don't get it. Like, this, like, I don't know. Like, who thought this was a good idea? Nobody, right? I mean, even the people involved.
Well, again, if the director of the film is uncredited, I would agree with that sentiment 100%. He even clearly doesn't think that the film has any value, even as just a, quote, sexploitation film, so... And look, there were people in 2020 who probably liked this film, unironically. But my response to those people, because they showed it at Fantastic Fest like 3 years ago. And Fantastic Fest is, I believe, put on by Alamo Drafthouse, which... whole nother bag of problems.
Right, so then they are really just enjoying it ironically.
Yeah, they're enjoying it ironically and telling everyone how great it is, and it's like, go fuck yourselves.
Yeah.
We found this hidden gem. This is not a hidden gem. This film exists to be a fossil of a bygone era where people didn't even need plot. That was the assumption, but you know what? They do. Even if you're going to go watch a titillating film, you can have a plot. You don't have to treat the audience like they're stupid or like they're a bunch of Luddites who just want to see big boobies.
Yeah, I mean, it can easily be done. Like, a couple years later, the whole women in prison genre kind of sprang to life. And, as
there's
clumsily
as many breasts
made
in this film as there are in Black Mama, White Mama.
Yeah, but that movie's fucking fun, man. Like, you've got like actors like doing the work and directors delivering the action, and and whatever sex, it's simulated. I mean, it's a feature. It's not a hardcore film. Like, it looks good. Like, it turns you on. This, like, it starts to. It's almost like it's like the first scene in any of those movies, and then you stretch that first scene out for 7 or 8 minutes. Like, oh, I'm taking off my clothes. Okay, cool. What's next? Still gonna take off my clothes for the next 8 minutes.
Yeah, what was one of the most surprising things for me was I was watching the time counter, like the timestamp for the film, and at 33 minutes is when something finally happens, and the movie's a third over at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I did the same thing at the end, like, after, these girls have been gunned down and the Tony and the Private Eye have gotten away, and like they go to her, they're at her apartment, and I thought, oh, okay, good, wrap this up. And then, like, I looked, and I was like, oh, my God, there's still, like, 10 minutes left in this movie. How is this possible? And
there were 14 minutes left.
You did the same.
I did, because I could not believe that the movie wasn't over. Like, we've already seen the Private Eye naked. We don't need to see her naked again. But, of course, we got that at the end.
And even less sexy now, because now they've bandaged her up. Like, I don't know, maybe that was a fetish that they were sort of catering to, but... It's just, and then it's all clumsy, and then like just close-ups of them kissing. Like, I don't know, man.
And it's filmed in ostensibly what looks like a closet or a very small room in the back of someone's trailer.
Yeah, they got there, and I'm like, oh my God, where the hell are they? Like, they need to get out of there. Like, oh, it's supposed to be his place. Oh, okay, all right. I did like the LP record holder he had in there. Like, I think that's the only thing I can sort of recommend from the scene. There's like a pole with the with the little shelves going up. I was like, well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'll just look at that.
Yeah, it is funny to me that something like Fantastic Fest, I believe it was actually Fantastic Fest 2019 showed this film. Like,
good Lord. Like,
this movie has no right being shown in 2019 at a film festival. If, like, why are you showing this? There are so many better sexploitation films, I'm sure, including Vixen.
Well, I mean, the only thing I can sort of think of is if you're going to do anything of Russ Myers, even though he passed away, a few years ago, like, you do have to pay them. this movie, if it's not in the public domain, it ought to be.
It is. It is in the public domain. It's on archive.org right now if you wanted to go and watch it. So is Vixen, to be fair.
Oh, okay. Well, some of them pass in there, I guess. So, but, that's why, any time in a horror movie where people go to the movies, they're probably going to be watching Night of the Living Dead. It's the same thing. They just don't want to pay the money. So that movie's in the public domain and it's a classic. Although I'm not claiming this one's a classic, but it seems like even more kind of bald-faced in the cash grab way that a film festival would program this as a part of that genre. I mean, it is part of the genre. It maybe deserves to be seen just sort of as a curiosity, but it's certainly I can name movies off the top of my head in the sexploitation genre that I would rather put into a festival that I would be proud to show people. This is certainly not a shining example of it. Look, if it was the end of the festival and I wanted everyone to leave the theater, I might put this one on.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, again, places like Alamo Drafthouse, and look, I'm never going to work with them again for a multitude of reasons, namely their inability to wrangle in their quote-unquote regular customers at their original location in Austin from sexually assaulting their waitstaff, but, among other things. But Alamo Drafthouse and Fantastic Fest, I can't, it's unconscionable that you would show this film, frankly. Unless you're just showing it, like you said, to either get people to leave or to give people a laugh, but that feels unnecessarily cruel for some reason.
It seems also disingenuous as filmgoers to show movies, ironically, at least for me. It's like the lowest form of film going. It's just pointing and laughing, oh, look how inept this is. You know what? Go make your own, moron.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, ultimately, you and I did not, I don't think either one of us are giving this film a glowing review, but at the same time, I think we've approached it objectively, which is what the film deserves because it's a film. Some folks worked on this film and released it, and it's an hour and 20 minutes, so it is a film. It is not a short feature. It is a film.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Let me praise it in one way. I like the music in it a lot, but then I'm sort of a fan of that era of library music. But this is a pretty heavy jazz score, but I thought it was good up until the end where it sort of went into this kind of romantic fantasy kind of music. But up until then, it was pretty hard boiled and fun. So that's a win. Give them that.
Yeah. I mean, again, I appreciate what they were going for. And again, it takes a lot of gusto to be on film in perpetuity naked. Because you wouldn't see me doing it.
I do think maybe, though, at the time, everyone was used to movies coming out and then disappearing forever,
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I don't have to worry about being seen on film naked.
Particularly this kind of movie where they're like, well, at least I know it's never going to be shown on television, so okay, I can check that off the list. And it's really, the quality isn't that great, so it's probably not going to be revived. So this will be shown first run and then disappear forever. Yeah, exactly. I'll just take my money. And, I'm sure, look, I'm not sure. I don't know anything about any of the actresses. I'm guessing they were burlesque performers or strippers. Generally that's where the rank and file for sexploitation movies ended up coming from. So it wasn't as if they were unused to disrobing, for an audience. So, I can get all their motivations, but at the same time, as we're saying, they showed up and they did the work. As poor as it is, God bless.
What would you give the film out of 5, Father Malone?
Oh, I'm gonna give it a 1. I'm gonna give it a 1.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, again, we're not sitting here watching it ironically. We gave it a fair shake like we've given every film a fair shake on the Kulturecast. And I would never watch a film ironically and joke about it because, again, people are spending their time and money and effort on making something. And I wouldn't want someone to joke about the things that I make, though they probably deserve it.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, but we live in a far too snarky society, so, try to enjoy something unironically. If you don't like it, then, it doesn't have to be the worst thing ever either, I'm not going to recommend this movie, but I certainly wouldn't be like, oh my God, do not watch that movie,
Yeah. And again, I mean, look, I can't say enough bad things about Alamo Drafthouse. So any time I'm given the opportunity to pile on those ding-dongs, I will, because I don't like them.
Take that, ding-dongs.
Yeah, take it, you star-spangled ding-dongs. So we'll take a break and we'll play a preview for the next Kulturecast.
Hi there, everybody. These are the officers of Olympic International Films, and they've just produced a new kind of horror film, starring my 3 old friends, Tom, Dick, and Harry. This is the other star of the picture, me. Kindly, white-haired little old Granny Good. In this picture, I run a finishing school for young girls who aren't already finished. Also, I have a little side operation in the basement, the biggest independent still west of Chicago. These are 2 of my little co-eds.
I guess it's just a feeling more than anything else. No one has actually ever seen anything out there.
You mean out there in the garden?
Yes. Sometimes we feel that there's something out there, whether we see it or not.
What kind of something?
I don't know what it is. But sometimes we hear things, like there was something out there.
And this is what was in the basement. My old friend, Harry. And these are some of my little co-eds on their way to class. This picture's just full of class, or something. In this scene, I'm tutoring one of my honor students. Well, anyway, I think we can take care of little Miss Prudence. We don't have too much of a discipline problem at GGSFG. In this school, we see to it that the little girls learn about everything in life, particularly the arts, but we try not to neglect their bodies. In fact, here's a scene of some of my little girls working on the finer points of bodybuilding. Oh, my. Now, first to the right and then to the left. Twist. 1, 2, 1, 2. Every exercise we used was scientifically designed to strengthen some portion of the anatomy. We found that jumping rope was excellent for developing the lung capacity. This dainty little girl was in school on a football scholarship. Now, here are some scenes from a typical Sunday social. I strive to teach the little girls all of the social graces. Sometimes they have a new twist. As you can see, everybody has a real good time at Granny Good's house on Bear Mountain. And you will too when you see it at this theater in a few weeks, if the cops don't get to us first. Of course, if you don't like horror movies or sex, or comedies or sex, or adventure or sex, or Frankenstein or sex, or Dracula or sex, or the Wolfman or sex, well then just don't come see it, honey, 'cause this movie is dirty. Dirty, dirty, dirty! It's even filthy.
That's right. On the next Kulturecast, we are going to be talking about House on Bear Mountain. It is a sexploitation horror film. So, that's a thing. We'll see. Could be good. I'm going to be joined by Jess Byard and Richard Haddam. Big Rich from the West Coast, as they like to call him. Until then, where can people find you, Father Malone?
You can check me out over on my YouTube channel, OughtFiveFilms, OughtFiveFilms. I have lots of, I got a lot of stuff now. Thanks to quarantine, I've gone a bit cuckoo with the content. Go check me out over there. You can also hear me over on 2 other podcasts with you, Mr. Stachiw. Hear us on Chronicles from the Crypt, the Tales from the Crypt podcast. And you can also hear us dissecting the 1985 reboot of The Twilight Zone. That podcast is called Dreams for Sale, The Twilight Zone 85 podcast.
Now, I have a question for you. Theoretically.
Uh-huh.
If I were to have seen a film on your YouTube channel that
Yes.
you claim I should not seen,
Yes.
where should I stick it?
Right up your ass.
Okay, cool. That's what I thought. As for myself, you can follow me on Twitter at casualty_Chris. You can find me on a couple other podcasts. I talk all about them there. On my Twitter, Scary Stories We Tell, Chronicles from the Crypt, which Father Malone already talked about, The Life and Times of Barney Miller. Those are all podcasts that we do that are part of kind of this interwoven network of podcasts, unofficial network. We'll see. Maybe someday it'll all be part of the same thing. Follow us on Twitter at Kulturecast, Kulturecast.com. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram as well. Check us out there. Give us a review on iTunes or Google Play. Every little bit helps. Patreon.com/Kulturecast is where you can find us. As always, big thanks to Tiger Blood Jewel for Bayou, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters. And Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.